we did it in the end. We are on our way to Wembley. Don't quite know how. I'm still taking it in. What a mental game.
Yeah, it's one of the most ridiculous 5 minutes I've ever seen of anything ever. I don't even know what happened. It's just all sorts of chaos going off. It was Willian decided to go in goal, and then Marco Silva's lost his head. Mitrovic lost his head, pushing the ref. Madness. I don't know what else to say.
And it's because, I know we want to talk about tactics. Actually, we can, because for 75 minutes, we were really, really bad today.
Yeah, we were really poor, but I think what's interesting, in the last few weeks, we've seen, as we talked about tactical view on Monday, we've changed the structure quite a bit of the team, so now we're playing with one sitting midfield and two in front. I think that's come about because without Eriksen in there, if we're playing with two sitting mids, we haven't really got anyone that can actually progress the play forward. So to try and get around that, Ten Hag's trying to give us another target ahead of the ball by pushing another midfield player higher, but it doesn't seem to be working yet. I don't think the players have quite worked out how to sort of get around that system yet, how to get around the new shape. I think some of the pressing isn't working quite as it was before. I think it's just not quite there yet, but I think the international break comes at the perfect time because you can get on the training ground, sort that out, and hopefully we come back afterwards with a renewed sense of purpose.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of them are out on international duty as well, though, that's the thing. But exactly, just a bit of calm in it, because what did you make of us in midfield? There was we knew there was going to be big questions. First game without Casemiro, and wow, it was bad. What did you think about it? Obviously, it was McTominay, Sabitzer and Bruno in there.
Yeah, it was really ropey. I think Ten Hag's, it's pretty obvious he doesn't trust McTominay to progress the ball forward. That's why he's changed the system to have more targets higher up. But also he's doing that because he's got, in theory at least, Maguire and Martinez who can move the ball from centre-back rather than having to play through midfield. So what you saw quite a lot was a lot more combinations in wider areas rather than building up down the middle. So you see the eight, so you see Sabitzer and Bruno often playing really wide. You've got the wingers staying quite high, the midfielders going really wide into those wider areas. So you get combinations with the full-back, the midfielder, the winger. And that's how we're trying to build the ball forward rather than sort of playing through the middle because McTominay can't do it.
It's just he can't progress the ball. He's not one to come in a bit. He's not one to come and show for the ball and say, "Give me it, I'll get us going, I'll pass through the lines." It was Martinez doing that. He kept stepping into midfield countless times, as he does. He was the only one, and that was in a bad first half where we didn't really do anything. And that goal was coming for Fulham. It really was. Was it a bit more than the turning point of that crazy chaos, like in terms of Anthony coming on and us creating that moment that caused the chaos, or are you putting it down to, listen, when that happens and there's all them red cards, that's what changed it?
Yeah, if that happens, all bets are off. But to be fair, obviously we had to generate the moment to get that because it was going in otherwise if he didn't decide to go in goal. So we would have scored.
Which would have been a good goal.
Yeah, exactly. So we would have scored, but I think Anthony coming on did make a difference. He did change the game, but look, it's just moments like that are the biggest thing. Like, we can talk about tactics, we can talk about whatever else, but when moments like that happen, it's just madness.
Red cards galore. It was insane. Like I agree with what you said at the top of this. Like, it's the most crazy thing I've seen, like just ever, that I can remember. Like, yeah. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
No, because you got Marco Silva throwing his water bottle on the pitch as well before that all kicked off. He's lost his head, but his players made a save on the goal line. But what are you complaining about? There's nothing to complain about. Like, I don't know, and he's crying after the game now. He's come out and saying VAR's got it wrong or whatever.
He deserves that for that.
Yeah,
He completely lost his head. Mitrovic, same thing. Yeah. He was getting the better of us for the whole game, wrestling with Maguire on the back foot.
Sent off, I thought he got booked pretty early, and there were a few challenges, maybe none that were yellow cards, but totting up process. He can't have been far away. So I was surprised we didn't take him off, to be honest. But look, Mitrovic is going to be a thorn on the side against most teams. There was one moment where he was up against Bruno at the back post. Yeah, I was worried for our life. I was worried for David De Gea. I was worried.
They just kept peppering us. Any time they got to be able to deliver the ball into the box, they did it. Andreas Pereira's, his delivery was spot on pretty much every time, calling us big problems. Their fullbacks are quick. In Tete and Robinson, they're electric.
It was one particular sprint Robinson made, which was really, really impressive. Like, he just got around the outside of his man, put a ball in. It wasn't a great ball, but the athletic, really good. Doing that like 60, 70 minutes into a game is quite impressive.
We struggled. Rashford didn't get any joy against Tete, and obviously Sancho didn't get anything. He looked really poor. I was surprised not to see him come off earlier.
Do you know the biggest problem with this team at the moment is that when you're so low on energy, it's one thing if you sort of defend and control space because you can just shift side to side, not too many issues because you're always going to have someone near enough to you that if you make a mistake, someone else can cover. We are so heavily based on 1v1 matchups, man-v-man marking, which means that if we don't win our duels, if we're not solid in those sort of first and second battles, if we're not strong in the challenge, which we weren't, it means players have got to make recovery sprints, which makes you more and more tired. It means you're less likely to keep hold of the ball. Everything goes wrong from there. So it's because we're so heavily set up man for man, it means that when you're as tired physically as they clearly are now, at this sort of period where you've been playing every 3 days for months at this point.
And without your best players as well.
Yeah, exactly. It just makes it all worse. And without Christian Eriksen in midfield, someone that can, I think when you've got players like that, you don't have to necessarily run as much. You can keep the ball a little bit better. You can. It's almost like, because you've got the technical security there, that can mask some of the physical issues if you're a bit tired. Without that there, we are in big trouble.
Well, we had the balance right, didn't we? Before Eric Eriksen got injured, it was 70 minutes, 65 minutes. Eriksen's looking a bit leggy, but we've done okay. Get your Fred on. He'll run about, see it out. And that was working. And then the gap that he's left, it's like now we're jaded and we're tired. It's like, bloody hell, we've got no control over the games and we're tired. And now there's no Casemiro.
I'm intrigued to see what system we go with after the international break. Is it back to the 4-2-3-1? Is it still the 4-3-3? What do we want to see? I think long term, Ten Hag will want to do this 4-3-3 with one sitting midfielder.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a Casemiro in there, you've got a big problem.
Yeah. But it's not all doom and gloom.
We're going to Wembley.
We're going to Wembley again, bro. And we didn't think we was going to, considering being 1-0 down, and it looked like it's going to be one of them days. But credit to the team, because somehow or another, we get it done.
Yeah, I mean, you credit them, but really, it's all got to go to Willian, hasn't it? The credit's got to go to him. Like,
credit to Willian.
Yeah, probably the best thing he's done here for a while.
And he was having a good game as well.
He was.
That's the thing. They literally just capitulated because they were playing really well. But it's Brighton in the next round. And you talk about tactics, you talk about having to be on it. Obviously, Casemiro will be back by then. Hopefully he doesn't get another red card or something stupid before then. I promise I won't touch him or anything for that.
Please don't.
I promise.
Keep your hands away from him.
Yeah, exactly. However, there was no judge. I've just been with all the players, and look at that.
True,
I've just look at the luck. I've just 3 red cards, mate, for the opposition. How about that? No one's going to give me any praise for that.
Touching the Fulham players.
No, I didn't. Yeah, exactly. But Brighton in the semi-final, and then you're assuming if we get past them, it will be Manchester City. But how are you feeling about the prospect of Brighton at Wembley? Because that's tough.
I think that's a really tough game. I think the way Brighton play under De Zerbi, where they try and bait pressure, they do everything they can to. They don't even play forward. They'll take their time, take as many touches as you want. They'll let you come onto them, press them, and then they'll play through you. And I think with the way our pressing is at the moment, unless we change something major, we are going to get ripped apart quite a few times. I think we're in big trouble for that. I think we can hurt them at the same time, but they will play through us quite a lot of times.
Look what Fulham just did to us. If we're not ready, Betis did it to us in the first half as well. I know it was a bit of a different game, but
the thing is that some of those you can put down to us not being in the best condition physically. I think tactically, from the way we set up, I think Brighton will cause us big problems in a way that it's structural rather than just because we're not physically at our best. So I think that could be a tough test.
And that shows how good De Zerbi is, because he's been there less than Ten Hag has. And got players that you would argue are not as good as ours, but actually when you say technically, they are. People like Solly March and stuff. He's a very good technical player.
Yeah,
he is.
Yeah, he is.
Alexis McAllister, etc. Casado, Mitoma. There's loads.
I'm excited to see Saka against Mitoma. That'll be a battle. That'll be a proper battle.
Exactly. Finish off. Who was your man of the match?
Martinez, easy.
Why?
What a player. He's just he does everything. No one else is moving the ball forward, so he just does it all himself. He's the number of times he'll just sort of cut out a pass, but he won't just hook it out of play or whatever. He'll just like Cruyff time or something on the ball and just.
He just does everything. He does.
And the number of slide tackles he makes. There was one at the end where he put Dan James under, didn't he?
Do you know what? I looked at it. When that ball got forward, I looked at it. Dan James probably thought, oh shit. Yeah. Like he's on his way. I can't even get out of the way of this. And he was on the floor, seen on the screen after. He was like, just catching a breather. That really took it out of me. But I can't moan. This was a great tackle. But yeah, right, Martinez, man of the match. Big up. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, see you tomorrow.